Yo, what's going on guys? Rhys here from Stoic Pool, and in this video we're going to be having a look at Plutus Pioneers week 4. Let's get into it. Right guys, so week 4 of the Plutus Pioneers program was really about simulating contracts in the terminal. So instead of, or in the REPL it'll be, but basically instead of loading up the server and have the Plutus Playground and blah blah blah, it was learning to just run them in your server, which is pretty cool. It's really good that we can actually do that, nice and easy. We were learning about setting endpoints, like logging errors and stuff like that, and like really simple stuff, although it's pretty simple. Once you got through it all and you kind of understand what you're up to, then it is pretty decent. But like the whole kind of video was a bit overly complex, I think. And I think it was just because it was so long. Like we did loads of examples of different stuff. We did like a bunch of other things. There was a lot going on. There was a lot going on. All right, so let's have a look at VS Code. So I'm here. I'm going to open up Plutus. Oh, wonderful. And let's see if it just remembers everything. It might do. Nope. Okay, so we're going to go cd Plutus apps, and then we're going to nix shell. Okay, now this is assuming you've obviously already done your updates and stuff. This is, you just got to do that, right? You just got to get that done. Okay, that's going. Okay, and so here we are. So let me zoom in. That didn't work. That's better. Okay, we can get rid of this sidebar. So we've got homework here. Where is it? Homework 4. Now, when I was doing this, I was getting stuff in the wrong order. And so obviously I made a couple of mistakes, as you do. So what I've done today is I've actually kept those mistakes so that we can have a look at them and why they didn't work. So this is our contract. Now there are 2 bits of homework, all right? The first one is just to get it functioning, which is this part here, the PAYTRACE aspect. That was the first thing. And then the second part of the homework was actually to make sure that this threw an error. All right, so here we've got it on it doesn't do the error here. Okay, so we're going to finish this now and then we'll run the contract. But the main part of this, right, the PAYTRACE, basically these are 2 elements, right? This is the actual contract. You've got your endpoints here, which we're calling, and then we're basically just constructing the transaction based on these pay params, which you'll all remember from other videos. And then we do, and then we submit the transaction here. And what's happening here is this is recursive. Yeah, so once it submits a transaction, it goes PAYCONTRACT, and then it goes it basically cycles through it again. So it holds this this thing until we get this endpoint, until someone actually says pay, you know, like makes that call in the contract. So that's what the contract actually does. We're just basically holding some funds and then paying someone. Now here we've got our PAYTRACE, and this is just the inputs. So in the playground, what we'll normally have is we'll have 2 wallets, and then we'll have wait periods, and we'll have payment transactions or requested amounts based on different endpoints, right? So what we're doing is we're basically constructing that here so that we have them set. Okay, so you'll recall from where we've done transactions in the playground before, you'll have a pay function, and then you'll have a recipient, and you'll have a value. Okay, and that's kind of what we've got here. All right, and this is based on the pay params, which are set up here in data pay params. So we've got a recipient, payment public key hash, and a Lovelace integer in Lovelace, which is 1/1,000,000th of ADA. So what we have here, basically we had to, this had nothing, right? The original homework had nothing there. It was just underscore. Wait. I don't have a copy of it. So the original homework was like PAYTRACE underscore equals unknown. And then it said something like fix or something. Wait, what did it say? I don't have it. It just said like fix or do or something like complete, something like that. And these were the instructions. A trace that invokes a pay endpoint or a pay contract on wallet 1 twice, each time with wallet 2 as the recipient, but with amounts given by the 2 arguments. There should be a delay of 1 slot for each endpoint call. All right, and that's what that really means is we've got these endpoint, these values here, this pay test IO, and this is what we're actually running. So you would run pay test 1, and what that is, a monad, an input output, run emulator trace here, which just shows the inputs and outputs. It doesn't show all of the code and all of the computation that goes on when you run a thing, because it just makes it a lot more user friendly to actually read, right? And then it does PAYTRACE, and these are your 2 values, so 10 and 20 ADA. And then there was a second one where we did 1,000 ADA, and 1,000 ADA is too much. The wallet doesn't have 1,000 ADA, it only has 100 ADA, so 1,020 ADA would be too much, so it would just throw an error and halt the contract straight away. So the first part of the contract, the first part of the homework was to do this, where this would work, yeah, get this first one working. And then the second part was to enable it to throw the error, but still continue to run the contract, okay, which was this part 2, pay test 2. So I wasn't really sure how to do this at first, because my brain was so scrambled from the last week, or the last 2 weeks, I should say, doing like Catalyst and everything else. And I was watching these videos and I was just like, what are we doing? What are we actually doing here? But once I watched them like twice, I started to realize what was going on. Oh my God. I've had one of those weeks, which is why this video is late. So initially I was like, this was the kind of thing we had before, right? So what I did is I just called endpoint pay 1, called endpoint pay 2. I just called this A and B, and I just tried to call the endpoints and wait a slot and then pay, right? Because I was trying to figure out how to do it, right? How to actually lay out the process. So instead of just trying to solve it, I just tried to call the endpoints and see what happened, right? Obviously that didn't work. Then the second one, I actually created a handle. So this H2 is a handle here. So I created H1 handle for known wallet 1 and H2 for known wallet 2. And then I was making them just run the pay contract, which is this up here, which is the thing with the things on it, right? And obviously that doesn't do anything. It just creates the handles, and then you got to do stuff with them. So I was like, wait 1 slot, call endpoint pay params A, right? So I just put pay params A. Now this doesn't work. And then I was like, pay params B. And I thought, because we have PAYTRACE here, so PAYTRACE is we're running PAYTRACE 10 million and PAYTRACE 20 million, right? Or 10 and 20 ADA. So I thought just calling them A and B by here, just referring them to A as B, would mean that it would just be the first one is A, the first one's B, and it would run them, but that didn't quite work either. And that's because I wasn't actually specifying, which when I thought about it a little bit, I realized that every time we do things, we need to actually refer to what they are as well, right? So we just made this nice little JSON thing, which is exactly the same as the recipient and pay public key things, which is what we've seen in other contracts, right? And I was like, oh, obviously we've done that. So I just put that in, not wallet, known wallet 2, make sure we pay the right place, known wallet 2 again, and then it waits. And that's it. It's super easy. It's done. So I'm just going to get rid of that. And let's give it a go. So I'm going to go in the terminal, CD. Now we're in Plutus Pioneer Program week 4. You normally need to do your Cabal build, and hopefully this doesn't take long because it shouldn't. It should just catch up in a sec. Quick smoothie. Cool. So it's telling me, look, you did these things wrong. Is this it here? Yeah. Okay, so another thing, right, is because I write all the homework stuff outside of that folder, I've got to actually make sure it's in the homework file when we run it, if I'm doing stuff in the REPL. So this homework HS is actually my completed homework. Oh, it's showing part 2. So let me just, no peeking. All right, so we got our PAYTRACE, and then we're going to load in the module. What's the module? It's homework.hs. Because I'm not in the REPL. It's early morning, all right, guys. I haven't had a coffee yet today. I've got a coffee sat here, but the smoothie takes priority. Okay, we need to get rid of this. Right, so let's try and actually load this properly, right? So we go L, then we go week 04 homework. Loaded module homework. Paytest 1. Okay, now it's going to hopefully give us some gobbledygook. And there we go. And so what we've done is we've paid 30 ADA to here from here. Yes, this is obviously wallet 1, this is obviously wallet 2. And let's just have a look at those numbers. 10 ADA, 20 ADA, 30 ADA done. All right, cool, all good. So then the second part, if we do paytest 2, it basically won't work, right? So we have nothing. These are all the end, like the final balances. So you see here, final balances of the wallet, and everything's at 100 ADA. Their payment hasn't been made. And that's because they only have 100 ADA and it's trying to pay first, it's trying to pay 1,000 ADA, and it's just not going to happen. So what we need to do is we need to basically call the error. Now this was a bit of a mess. It took me a bunch of tries. Well, it took me 2 tries. Okay, 2 tries. So what I was doing was essentially taking the previous work that he was doing and like looking at it and thinking, how can I apply that? And my first iteration of it was just to give this a call, give this a handle. But the thing is, I wasn't actually submitting it, right? And then if it wasn't successful, then do this. And I was just using the contract throw error boom, which is what he had in one of the examples, right? Otherwise return nothing and then pay the contract. So you pay it. It pays. Let me just delete that so you can actually have a look at it in pretty colors. Okay, so this is my first attempt, and this doesn't work. Quite simply, doesn't like it. So the reason is because we're not really doing much here, and this isn't going to just throw the error, right? In fact, it's calling a contract thing of the error, which it just doesn't work, right? Guys, don't even worry about it. It's no bueno. So what we actually needed to do was to just, in a similar way to in one of the other examples where he has the contract error, like he handles the error, we needed to do something like that. And I was like, oh yeah, we've got this handle error. Let's just do that, right? So this was my second attempt. And here it's exactly the same. I've got the void submit transaction, contract handle error, blah, 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 blah. Like the truth is we don't even need this. All right, we don't even need that. We need this part. Okay, but then it was still not working. It was calling an error, and I was like, why is this happening? And I had a little break, and when I came back to it, I realized what was going on. It's in the wrong order. It's actually in the wrong order. So it needs to handle the error first, and then carry on and submit the transaction, right? Otherwise, it's submitting the transaction, or not, and then erroring out at this point, like this is the error. And what we need to do is we need to throw the error before this submit happens, because that's where this information is provided, right? So they're literally just in the wrong order. This bit needs to be after handle error. So what I did, so I'm just going to copy it from here, is I put it here. Yeah, put that in place. And then obviously that needs to be bracketed. And then we're going to go comment that out. That's commented. We don't have everything commented though, do we? Cool. So now what happens is when it says let tx equal, it builds the transaction based on the parameters. Then it says, is there an error? If there's an error, tell them there's an error and stuff. And then build the transaction. And then repeat pay contract, right? As soon as you put them in that order, it's fine. Hopefully. I mean, that would be so funny if that's wrong, right? But yeah, that's it. That's all we got to do. So we're gonna We're going to save this first. Then we're going to reload. And then we're going to go pay test 2. And what do we have? We got 120 here. We got 80 there. That doesn't seem right. Oh, of course it is, because we can't pay the 1,000 because we don't have it there. So that's it. And we still paid the 20, right? So that's great. Because that's the 799, so we paid out 20. And that's 128 there. So, perfect. Well done, guys. Okay, sorry, I've just done the homework in this video, but there was so much to go through, and a lot of it is just explaining what monads are or how they can work. Right, so a lot of it is relevant if you're learning, and definitely go and watch the videos, but I would end up doing a whole hour-long video myself, and it's taken long enough for me to get this right, hasn't it? So, so give me a break, right? But you can see where I've done these, where I've made these errors, what I've done wrong, and I thought it would be good for me to share this with you so you can actually see my thinking process when I was going through it. And yeah, so there you go, guys. That's it. That's the solution for the homework. Hopefully this helps you kind of understand what we're even doing, because I know some people reached out to me and they were like, what was week 4 about? You know, but it's basically just being able to run the contracts, test the contracts in VS Code in my example, but in the REPL rather than loading up the Playground server every time, essentially. Right, guys, so that's it for this video. If you like what you're seeing, as always, give us a like, subscribe for more Cardano and Stoic videos every week. Leave any questions or comments you got in the box below. I'm going to share this solution and my notes. My notes were a little bit of a mess because I couldn't really concentrate very well. So let's go down here and see what my notes were. Off-chain notes. So this is basically me just going through what he's up to. So I'm going to share this with you as well, but I kind of stopped at one point because it wasn't really helping. And so what I did instead is I started taking notes on the work that he'd done, like this, right? So I just copied them. So I'll stick all them up. That's that. Trace here. So this is actually going to be very useful for you. I'll share this with you. What else did we have? Writer. This, again, loads of notes as we were going through. So I'll share all these with you in the week 4 folder. In my GitHub, the links are all going to be down below. This stuff's really useful. My notes, my just like one-piece notes kind of aren't that useful because what I was finding was it was hard to make notes. If I could just put this out and he had a bunch of different iterations of stuff all in one file, it was very easy for me to just make notes and explain what was going on and kind of talk about what the differences were and where stuff was changing. So I'll just share all these with you in the GitHub, and then you'll have access to all my notes, and it hopefully will make it a little bit easier for you to understand. I'm sorry this one's taken so long. Next week, week 5, I'll be putting out very soon, like in a couple of days, probably like the beginning of next week. I'm not going to leave it. I've just been super busy with Catalyst and stuff, so that's my excuse. All right, if you got any questions, reach out to me. Don't forget, if you're not already, delegate to Stoic Pool, and I will catch up with you in the next one. See you then. What a sausage. Silly salchicha.